Hi folks, hope you're all okay. Welcome to another episode of Content Cars, and welcome to my new addition to the Italian family, along with the GT there that's covered in Sahara dust still from a few days ago. So I've been trying to get this video out for quite a few days now. When I first posted that I've bought a Fiat Punto, there was quite a bit of interest in it, a bit more interest than perhaps what I would have thought. Just want to talk a little bit about the car, talk about the story, how it got here, what the plans are, the good things about it, the not so good things about it, and everything in between. You may recognise this Fiat Punto if you follow my channel. It actually belonged to a friend of mine who brought it along to the road trip over in Wales, which I think was May last year. At that point, he'd only owned it since April. Since coming back from Wales, he's barely driven it. In fact, it's been laid up for just over a year and covered about 700 miles since its last MOT. I couldn't just let it sit there and rot. I said, look, let me buy it off you, see if I can get it back on the road. And one recovery truck later, and here it is at my compound at work. So it hasn't really progressed since then in terms of what I've done to the car since it's been here. I had to put a new battery on it because the battery went flat, obviously. Apart from that, I haven't really spent any money on it. It's hopefully going in for its MOT next week. I've driven it around the compound for a bit. The brakes are obviously a little bit binding, and there's quite a bit of build-up of surface rust on the discs that you can see. I think they're actually quite new discs. They're looking pretty good. It's hard to see the pad from here, but yeah, plenty of cobwebs and dirt and grime on those discs. So might try and drive it around a bit, see if I can get a lot of it off. They are actually better than what they were. In terms of the tyres are quite new. Probably say they're sort of 5 mil, something like that. So they've still got plenty of tread on them. They're looking quite good condition. I can't see any sort of cracking or perishing from the outside, so that's pretty good. In terms of the rest of the vehicle, a lot of grime, a lot of dust. Just needs a good going over, really, but not until I've put it in for its MOT to see what happens with that. There's the state of the rear discs, and yeah, just not in great condition really, but the tyres are pretty meaty. Similar tread on those. They've got triangles on the back and triangles on the front. Coming round to the back, in fairness, in terms of the bodywork, I'll come on to the paintwork later, but the bodywork is very good. I can't see any major dings or anything in it. It's pretty straight. Can't see any sort of rust on the arches. Bear in mind, like I said, it's been sat for well over a year. So I'm quite lucky in that respect. It's just covered in trees and bushes and such like. A little bit of condensation in the, looks like the reverse light there. Seems to be a common issue with Italians, as the GT suffered the same fate. In fact, all that trouble I had with the reverse light, where I had to drill a hole and drain the water out, the same thing's happening now with the rear fog light, which I'll try and bring up on screen for you. So yeah, sort that out. This side doesn't look too bad. It's a fog light on this side, so yeah, it's just a bit of water and condensation in that reverse light. Coming over to the passenger side, tyres gone down from what I remember, so I don't know if we've got a puncture in there, possibly from when the recovery man dropped it off and just left it in a hedge. So I'll have to take a look at that, at least pump it up just for the MOT, and if it goes all right, then maybe investigate it further. But yeah, you can see there's quite a lot of build up of surface rust again on those discs. They just need a good clean, really. But at this point, pre-MOT, I don't want to spend too much money on it, really. Just trying to get in here. Again, can't see any major issues really with in terms of rust. Try and get underneath. It's hard to see, to be fair, because there's a lot of under trays fitted. But once it's on the MOT ramp, we can have a better look at it. Just more grime and dirt. Needs a bit of elbow grease. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, not too bad. As I didn't mention before, this is a 2011 Fiat Punto. To give it its full name, it's the Fiat Punto Evo, sporting 1.4 turbo. So this has got a similar engine to the Abarth, but this has this slightly reduced brake horsepower of 133 compared to the Abarth, which I think had about 170. This also, rather disappointingly, has the 5-speed gearbox. I was kind of hoping it would have the 6-speed like the Abarth and the sort of newer versions, but yeah, this particular one does have the 5-speed, which I think is quite an old gearbox. Like I said, the new shape is the 6-speed. But yeah, obviously I'm yet to take it out due to it being off the road and obviously having no MOT. So I should look forward to, once it's MOT taxed and insured, giving it a good run. Engine's very good though, apparently. Back in 2010, it did actually win the Best New Engine of the Year award. So yeah, that multi-air engine, which we'll come on to later, was quite a good little engine. 3 variants. The standard one was around 105 brake horsepower, I want to say. This one being 133, and then the Abarth at 170. Moving on into the inside now. Pretty standard, as you can imagine. But in terms of condition, no rips or tears in the seat. They need a good clean. There's actually a bit of mould on the door panel there on the passenger side. A little bit of grubbiness on the rear seats that need a good valeting. A little bit of mould again over there. Bonus cup holders down at the bottom for the passengers. But overall, in terms of the trim, there's no sort of damage to any of the trims. Headlining's not broken, but yeah, again, evidence of dirt or mold that just needs a good spruce. And obviously it does smell quite potent in here because where it's been sat around. But yeah, we can sort that all out. It's not an issue. Handbook. Well, I'm sure we'll need to know where all the fuses are located for when they pop. So we'll have a look at those at some point. Standard heater controls. It has got aircon. Standard CD player. It's also got, on these ones, the TomTom integration, which I think goes in there, just by the screen there. And you've got this little button here as well, which I think it's something to do. I'll be honest with you folks, I've not really had time to have a proper play in here. I've been trying to do it in between working and trying to fix the GT, which is a never-ending chore really on that thing. Like I said, 5-speed gearbox, which is a shame. Would have been nice to get the 6-speed, but can't have everything. Got cruise control, I believe, as well somewhere. Yeah, cruise control there. Quite a nice feature to have. Let's go and have a look at the engine. So yeah, here is that 1.4 turbo multi-air engine. I can't really comment on the performance of it because I've not driven it on the road yet. But from the reviews I've seen, that everyone was very impressed with the engine. It was the suspension really that I think let these down. The setup on these Sportings. So along with the body kit that you get with it, which is the side skirts and the better wheels. These are quite rare wheels apparently, someone was saying on Twitter. So Yeah, they're in quite good condition, just a couple of little marks on them. There was a lot of love for the engine in these, not so much for the suspension setup, but yeah, I'll let you know on that one. That, I believe, is the actual multi-air unit in there. I did have a little look online to see how it works, but it went over my head completely, so I'm not even going to try and explain that to you. Yeah, apart from being cobwebby and dirty, it looks all right. It just needs a good clean. Coolant needs topping up a little bit. It's a little bit low, but that's a new battery I've fitted there. Got that from Euro Car Parts. Cost me about 80, 90 pounds, something like that, for a stop-start battery. So yeah, that was very good in the end. And yeah, you can see on here as well that the headlights have gone funny. They need a good clean. There's some dirt in there, dirt along here. Yeah, just overall it needs a good clean. So the good things are that despite it being off the road for well over a year, it's in pretty good condition. It survived quite well just on the road, and apart from a good clean and maybe a bit of a service, it should be okay. The not so good things, there's a couple of main things, two things really. One is the paintwork. I don't know if you can see because the sun's right in front of me, so I've not done this particularly very well, but the paint is starting to, or the lacquer I should say, the lacquer has started to peel both on the bonnet. If I come up here over the Sahara dust, also on the roof as well, and it's worse on the front obviously, but it's quite patchy over the entire roof. So I'm not sure at this stage what, if anything, I'm going to do. I may just jet wash it off and see what I'm left with. I mean, can't really look any worse than what it does now. And to be fair, the end goal with the car is to eventually give it to my dad, as he does have a bit of a thing for Fiat Puntos, and this being the sporting is right up there with some of the best. So yeah, I don't think he'll be too concerned about the paintwork. The other issue, which could be a little bit more serious, is it does have a misfire from cold. Now these multi-air units are quite renowned for that. Just seems to be a little bit lumpy for a bit. We've tried spark plugs, that didn't make any difference. Tried coils, it's had new coils as well. That made no difference. It's possibly either an ECU fault or a multi-air unit fault, but not quite sure that I really want to spend a lot of money on this vehicle. I'm going to run it for a bit. It'll be my daily for a bit once it's been MOT'd, see how it actually performs from cold. And if it's not that noticeable, then like I said, I won't worry about it. It's only going to go to me dad, so I won't be selling it privately. It'll just be going to him for a bit, and then when he's fed up with it, I'll have it back. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Hopefully I didn't waffle on for too much. Like I said, I really want to get this video out as soon as possible, prior to doing the MOT at least, so I can give you a little bit of background on it before it all goes up in flames, no doubt. In terms of the GT, where we are with it, as I'll do a mini fleet update. So apart from being covered in Sahara dust and the now rear fog light starting to look like a bit of a goldfish bowl, it's going all right. I fixed the washers again, so they're working. The only thing that's slightly annoying is there's quite a bit of play. It's hard to see in the sun, but it's quite a bit of play in this wiper linkage, and it's starting to rub through on the paintwork. So I think I'm going to need to replace that wiper linkage at some point, especially now we're coming into winter. Owning any Italian car, especially an Alfa or a Fiat, there's never ever a time where you'd run out of things to do. I shall finish there, I think. Go and get the GT cleaned. Leave you with the lasting image of the Fiat. We'll wish it well next week for the MOT. And I'll see you soon on Content Cars.